Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the You Thrive Everyday Show. Today, we're going to be talking about some fantastic spiritual shit, okay? I mean, from astral travel to the oneness of us all.
Yeah.
And some more little tidbits in between there. But first, we have a
hmm
very special guest. Please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from.
Hello, my name is Adjuah. I am from upstate New York, born and raised. Um, yes.
Love.
um, we're getting into what I'm into. So I do credit repair. I also do healing, helping people find their higher selves, into motivation and fitness. And it's like I'll put it all together so you can be a complete and perfect person. Ideal perfect for who you are.
That's it. So,
hmm
let's start with that. What do you mean? You help people find their higher selves? What the hell does
Okay.
that mean?
Yes. So everybody has a higher self. I've actually got a chance to see them. Most don't really see higher selves. I actually experience meeting a few of them. So some people think that higher self is just like, the voice that speaks to you or so on and so forth. But actually, higher selves are extremely godly. Everything goes in a chain of command. So just like we have a job and we have to go to the supervisor and then the manager and then we have to go to the CEO and then the president and so on and so forth. It's the same way in the spiritual world. We have extreme lower selves and they go in different levels until you get to a higher self, and then we have higher selves beyond that. It doesn't really stop too often. But the ones I've seen are still on this plane and they are connected to you here. So sometimes you may hear voices, or people say, a lot of times people say, well, spirit said this and spirit said that and spirit said this. Well, I've actually got a chance to see what that spirit is, and it's actually you. So some people can call it or refer to it as spirit, but it's actually an aspect of yourself that you're aiming to merge with. And it's just that simple. They look, I've, oh my gosh, they look amazing. They look godly, almost like animations. You know how people have the animations, and it look like the god and the pharaoh, and they do all these beautiful things to it. This AI technology. Well, that's exactly what they look like. No exaggeration. Obviously, they all don't look the same. Everyone has their individual based on their personality and who they are and their life purpose, but they do look like that. Very similar to it, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
juicy. This is juicy. So, what do you mean when you say you've seen them? What do you mean?
My first experience, actually, I was this guy was trying to date me. And I really, to be honest, I kept pushing it off and kept pushing it off. And I would go on little dates, but I wasn't quite taking him serious. I would, go months at a time without speaking to him. But one day, he invited me over to his house and we were watching a movie and we literally dozed off on the couch for about 5 to 7 minutes. Even we both dozed off. And when we dozed off, I astral projected and so did he. And that was one of my first experiences like this, and it was so phenomenal. And when we astral projected, I seen him and I thought it was him, but it looked different, obviously way more beautiful, but I'm just like, okay, oh wow, look at him. And it started communicating with me. He started communicating, teaching me different secrets of the universe, taught me telepathy and different things like that. And it was very short. It seemed long in the moment, but it only like 5 to 7 minutes went by. And when he entered back in his body and I entered back in mine, I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. You seen that? And he was like, what? See what? And I was like, you didn't experience that? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. So, of course, I had to second guess myself and say, maybe I'm going crazy. Did that really happen? Until we were wide awake and I heard the voice in my head. And he was like, yes, that really happened. And I'm in my mind like, who said that? And he was like, me. And I was like, prove it. So he was like, ask for anything you want. And I said, and mind you, I'm in my mind saying this. I was like, all right, well, I want to go to the store. And out loud, out of nowhere, he was like, hey, babe, you want to go to the store? And I was like, oh, shoot, this is real. That was like confirmation. So As we had this connected journey, I did tell him about it. I definitely told him about it. He wasn't as spiritual, but I asked him how could he be so dominant in spirituality, an aspect of him, but he wasn't there. And he had told me when he was younger, he used to astral project all the time. He was actually very spiritual, but traumatic events happened to where it took him away from his spirituality. Really dark events happened to him, and he couldn't quite get there. So he had this gift, and it was able to, basically asked me to help him along his journey, and I did. That was my purpose for me interacting with him. So it was a very beautiful journey. Very some of it was different, kind of dark, but ultimately he definitely is in a lot better place. But yeah.
Wow. Like, wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so you go on this journey with this being that is this person's higher self. How do you come to the conclusion that it's this person's higher self?
Um, First and foremost, it's annoying. Second of all, through the experiences we've had, we had a lot of experiences. Even down to, we have dreams, right? And some dreams I call simulations, because some dreams, and actually a lot of dreams, I don't even want to sugarcoat it, a lot of dreams actually happen because they want you to go through like a learning experiment, almost like the Matrix. And it looks very, sometimes it can even look similar to like the Call of Duty. This is where they get video games from. So like in a Call of Duty, you might be, going by yourself, and you got a group of people that go with you, and then you have to beat different board levels. It's exactly how dreams are. Like that's where they got it from. And I didn't know, because at first I never was into games. I just knew my dreams. And then when I actually seen the games, I was like, oh, this is where it came from. Okay, because everything comes from something. So I will go through what I would call simulations, to where he would create a dream for me. I didn't even think this is possible, but it is. He will create a dream for me, and I will beat a level. And then after I beat it, it will disappear, and it'll just be him. And he said, "You succeeded." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you did this?" So we just had these different experiences, and it was very when it's almost like angelic. When you're dealing with something of a higher source, of a higher realm, and all they do is aid you to become a greater person. You just innately know. Same thing with speaking to people. Like when I speak to all people, and of course we lead by only pure intentions. Very important that you only lead by pure intentions, and you want something from an individual. And it could be something as simple as, don't smoke around me. Very simple. Um, if you speak to that person, but you focus on their higher self, on their soul being, then they don't have any choice but to listen to it. And they don't even know it. It's like, again, it's a chain of commands. You just like here, you have a chain of commands. And when you are connected directly to source, there's no going around it. So they naturally do what you say. But again, you can't manipulate it, because you have to be pure, right? And if you're not pure, it doesn't work. It's just that simple.
Ashe, Ashe.
Mhm.
Okay, so now we talked about these higher selves. Now you were
Mhm.
talking about our lower selves. Now, what this
Yes.
would be what people out here on these spiritual streets when they be like, you the devil.
Yes. Lower selves can be, how can I explain this? Because I've seen those too, but not on such a interacting level. Um, Lower selves are naturally you now, because you're on Earth. Earth is a lower realm, right? And I've actually taught people this as well in dream states. I actually could come to people in their dreams and actually teach them things. And I remember a one experience with somebody I was teaching. I would speak to him about higher and lower selves, and I didn't know, he had no idea what I was talking about. And then one day he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "All this time you didn't know." So I came to him in a dream, and he was in a very lower part of himself. Looked a little different. You can see like a slight something over him, but he was in his lower self. And I asked him, I said, "Is this your higher self?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "No, look up." So we flew up together. And I asked him again, "Is this your higher self?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "No, look up." And we flew up again. So then he looked at me and said, "Is this your higher self?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Come on, let's go." We flew up. We were in like the cosmos. But with every experience I have, I always learn from it, right? Because he was able to tell me what I looked like, and the different the what he told me was phenomenal. But he actually told me what I already knew, but I had never seen anybody else to see it. So he actually was able to see it, and it was very beautiful. And I learned a lot from that experience. But a lower self is basically just you in trauma, not healed, able to, again, frequency is what we attract. We attract who we are. So when you are in this lower state, you're able to attract other lower vibrational beings. So you're more susceptible to lower and darker energies. And, people will call them demons, but I don't really call them demons, because demons don't really, to be honest, real, true demons don't really care about us. They're doing a something completely different. So I would just say lower levels of consciousness, right? Because demons don't really care about humans till as we think. They're a little bit more advanced, right? And lower levels and energies are created out of consequence. So everything is a learning experience. Yeah.
Ah, look, I'm on camera, girl. I'm like, that is so, I love how eloquent you are with your explanations. You know what I'm saying? So that people can
Mhm.
really get it. And it's very
Yes.
clear and it's simplistic enough to where even those that are not vexed on these subjects, can
Hmm.
comprehend. Oh,
Yes.
I
Yes.
love it. I'm in love right now.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to tap in just a tad because this is the thing, right? Religion is so we'll use the word popular. Okay. Religion
Okay.
is very popular. Okay. So what do you mean when you say demons are like not concerned with us? Like they got bigger shit going on.
Yes. So the true demon is the opposite of an angel, right? You have different calibers of angels, you have different calibers of demons. When you get deeper into it, you will learn that the exact opposite of the most powerful angel is the most exact opposite of the most powerful demon. And as you know, angels, though we can call on them, they're actually doing a way higher bidding, right? And it's the same thing with demons. In order to have a demon, you have to be in an extremely advanced place to where something has to come at you. And usually it's not on the earthly realm. So what we go through are like more of, I don't know what to call them, but they're not exactly demons. They're just simply lower states of consciousness. It can be spirits, it can be energies, it can be other aspects of frequencies, it can be things that you created, parts of you that, because we don't understand how powerful we are. So if we are in a darker state of thought, or in a darker state of just a darker state period, we actually create these energies off of ourselves. Sometimes we think we only attract them. No, we create them, right? So just like having a house, if you have a house and your house is extremely dirty, then the frequency, your house begins to feel dense and heavy. That's the energy you created. It didn't come from anywhere else. That came from an aspect of you. We are very powerful. And obviously, because we are very powerful, to reverse that is infinite abundance times two. So, it goes both ways. And that's basically what it is. Like demons, for an example, they are, see, everybody think that it's a good or bad. And for here, there is a good or bad. It's duality here, right? But
Okay.
when you get to higher realms, duality does not exist. Everything just is, and it's beautiful. It's phenomenal. So demons play their part on a different realm, that they just play their part. It doesn't even mean that they're the darkest thing, right? It's just an existence. Is basically how I can describe it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So in these what you call dream states, take me through this journey of when you became to know like this is something real. Like I'm really doing this shit. I'm not just in I was
La
gonna
la
say
land. Right,
very la la land, but we
right.
know that exists for real. But
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, what do they, the words they use, hallucinating, making
Mm-hmm.
this shit up. Like, how did you become confident and then um have the courage to further yourself?
Okay. So I've been gifted all my life. However, what you ask for, you shall receive in so many different levels. Everything I do is confirmation. I always ask for confirmation so that I'm not hallucinating. So therefore, when I'm able to astral project in other people's dreams and honestly, not on purpose. When I pop up, I'm popping up and I'm like, okay, why am I here? What do I have to do? So people are able to wake up and go, oh my gosh, and we talk about the dream together, or thank you so much for helping me with that. Or the very first experience, I'm gonna be honest, I went to the Philippines for 3 months and I was setting up a call center there. And I wanted to go back so bad because it was so beautiful. It wasn't cops, it was so natural. The environment was beautiful. I love nature. And when I came back, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go back to the Philippines. Like this is phenomenal. So that was the first time I ended up having this dream and I was speaking to everybody, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're you. You're you. You have your okay, okay." So I was like, it's you. And then I came back to my body, obviously, and I wasn't in the Philippines, so I couldn't prove it. I couldn't prove it. And I was like, you know what? If this is real and this really happened, let me be able to prove it with somebody I know. So that same night, I end up going to sleep and I end up being at my job. And I've seen everybody that I work with. Obviously, everybody else was asleep as well. So I go walk up to a few people that I wasn't too close with, and they were just like really confused, like, what? Adjuah, what you talking about? And I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. But I seen one of my close friends at the time, and I was like, listen, I need you to remember this. We in an alternate reality. We in a different world. Now, at the time, I put it in so many different complex words, so different than how I'm saying it now. But I'm like, when you wake up, all I need you to do is remember. Can you just remember this for me? And she was like, this is weird. I was like, I know it's weird, but you gotta promise me you're gonna remember. Say you're gonna remember. So she was like, all right, I promise I'm gonna remember. The next day came, I called her and I was like, is everything good? And she was like, yeah, everything's fine. And I was like, you remember dreaming about me? And she was like, yeah, I had this dream and you told me to remember. And she busted out crying. She was like, oh my God, do you do voodoo? She just spazzed out. And I was like, no, that was my first time to do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's for. So I was like brand new to the whole thing. But come to find out, she can do it too. So I was like, wow, you're able to do it. And she was like, yeah, I see you all the time now. So now we're natural. We see each other in dreams and we're like, hey, okay, I see you later, but yeah, at the time it was very scary, for her. She was just like, it wasn't scary for me because I was going through it, so I was just like, oh, this is dope. But for her it was very scary. So I was like, and now we cool. Now she's like, she understands it, we evolve from it, and so on and so forth. But that's how I know everything is true. I always ask for confirmation with every experience. So somebody always tells me, they dream, they tell me what I went through, or something always happens to where it's divine alignment. I never have any questions.
Wow. So so do you purposefully do this, or is it a thing where you go to sleep and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm here. Let's go do XYZ. How does that work?
Both. Do I know where I'm going? No. Is this what I consider my purpose? Yes. So yes, am I in divine alignment? Do I feel like I've been doing this probably since before Earth? Yes. Am I tapped into something different? Yes. But this is truly who I am. I've been doing this since zero. My mom she recalls dreams that I've had and she's been there with me and she was like, baby, you've been doing this for a long time. And I'm like, I know. So wide awake too, astral projection, able to tap into speaking to somebody and tap into something that, I'm able to tell them through their higher selves that I can just relay a message and so on and so forth. And, as spiritual as I go, I also try to keep it very, non-spiritual, so to speak, because we always put this spiritual connotation like nobody can do it, but everybody can.
Yeah.
So it's like oh my gosh, she's magical. No, we all are. So they explain it with chemistry, and they explain it with quantum physics, and they explain it, and it's literally simple. It's almost like black and white. But we put this, spiritual thing on it, and it seems like so magical. Though we are individually magical, but it's all within the oneness. So
Exactly. So what would you say is the difference between astral travel and what we might call lucid dreaming, or is there a difference?
it depends on who you're speaking with. Some people say it's the same thing, it's just different forms. I don't really do terms too technical. I know that some people astro travel and they call it daydreaming. I've know, because I have a father and he can literally close his eyes and astro travel and tell you everything that he sees. So, and for him, it's a form of daydreaming. But he's wide awake while he's doing it. I've had, people that can and I actually caught it on camera, where they can astro travel and they're walking and they sit there for a second, their self leave their body and come back. These are real people that I know. So I don't really put a term on it. It is what it is. To me, it's just infinite. So it is what it is. It's different forms of everything, just like it's different forms of frogs and cats and dogs and nature and trees and everything else. Just, different names, I guess. Whatever people prefer.
Okay. So you would call it the same thing whether or not you're not focused here, meaning sleeping,
Hmm.
versus what someone would call a daydream. It's the same difference.
Yes, because it's different states of consciousness and it's different states of source. So just depending on what your actual gift is and how tapped into source you are, it is based on what that is. I don't think it's we put terms on things to understand them, so to differentiate. However, if somebody is, and I've been through this before, I've been asleep and somebody's been wide awake and able to still see me. So can I say, oh, I was lucid dreaming and they were astral traveling? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just it both of it happened. I don't think we were in different states. I just think that we were aware, so we were able to see one another.
So what do you mean when you use the word source?
I say source for view purposes. Creator, source, the divine, the infinite, the omni. Um, just to know that everything is what everything is, depending on whatever you want to call it. It goes back to terms again. Some people say the omni, the all. Some people say that the creator or the creators, or I don't have, and I'm gonna be honest, nobody probably has an exact name, and I can tell you why. Um, I don't want to say that words are a hindrance, but first and foremost, we don't even know our original language. And I'm studying different aspects of Hebrew and Aramaic. And when I say Hebrew itself, it's almost like dreams. It's like a spoken dream. It's phenomenal. So for me to put these things into a English language, let alone language itself, is like limiting how powerful it is. It's so much more. Even the names for God, Jehovah, and all these, Ahaya, they only describe the characteristics. They don't actually say the actual name of the energy. So that's why. So we just use broad terms so that we can understand that something is greater than us and is connected to us all at the same time.
So do you feel that, because this is just my opinion, which I rarely ever give on the show,
Yes.
but just to create some more understanding, when we say source and people say God, from your perspective, is there
Hmm.
just this one entity or being that is the creator of all things?
Good. That's a very good question. I am going to say I'm how can I put this? Because I can see it, but to see it and to say it is two different things. I'm going to say no, it's not like this one being. No, it's so much greater. Our minds are so small. Because to be able to see what I have and to see what I've seen is just
It's
no,
scary.
we're
Don't
great.
don't
We
hurt your brain.
are beyond great.
No, I'm dead ass. Okay. I have to tell you this. Just
Yes.
real quick. Because I was sitting there one day and I can't remember what I was watching, some kind of podcast, and they were talking about God and source and how like really small we are. And oh no,
Mhm.
I was on Facebook and people were having
Yes.
this whole debate. And then so in my mind, I was like, God, you know? And then so
Hmm.
I just relaxed and released. And when I say my mind, like from your peripheral, you know how like if you're going so fast where everything's like warped, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It
I
was
do
like
know, like
my
time
brain
travel.
did that. It was like, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, no, stop fucking stop before some shit
Mhm.
explode, pop, I break a circuit. I don't know. I was
Mhm.
like, stop. It was like I was literally warping through, like it was taking me so fast through, and I was like, nope.
Yes. Traveling. I was gonna say that traveling is definitely traveling.
We cannot really wrap our mind. I mean, we have a hard time wrapping our mind around infinity when people are like, there
Thank you.
infinity amounts of possibilities. It's like we're still trying to attach
Mhm.
a number onto infinity. Ninja,
Yes.
more than you can fathom.
Yes. 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 It's so crazy because my YouTube and my Instagram is beyond infinite I am. And it really just says like you can't even, like you said, you can't even wrap your mind on infinity. Imagine going beyond that. Right? So it's just that is it's so beautiful that you said that because yeah, that's beautiful.
Wow. So as far as your gifts, right?
Hmm.
Because you have the ability, which is a beautiful gift, to be able to step into someone's dreams, see their higher selves. So, are you at the point in that consciousness where you are able? So, like, say I'm like, I want to hire you, and I have like all these questions,
Yeah.
would I be able to like write down a list of questions and tell you, girl, meet me in the dream world and let's have a chat?
Depends on how open you are. Not all the time. It definitely depends on the person. Like I said, um, sometimes I do it purposely, but even when I do it purposely, I don't know when I'm going to do it. So if somebody asks me a question, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really got to show you that. I really want to give you the answer. I might give you the answer in 3 days and be with you and somewhere and be like, you know what? Hold on, let me roll okay, car stop. But and then you may be like, oh my gosh, I saw you. And then, we have a conversation about it and they can remember it. Or some people are not tapped in at all. So I can see you and come to you directly and you will wake up and won't remember a thing. Right. So it's definitely in different, it's definitely different levels basically of consciousness and how open you are. And not only that, sometimes you may have a different journey. It may not meant for you to be knowing that right now. You know that that part. I know people want to know so much, but some people you gotta wait. You gotta take things in increments.
No, and you're not ready.
Sometimes
Sometimes we
yeah,
ask for things and we are not ready. Okay.
not
And
ready.
I have been through
Mhm.
that process where you really, we are such powerful beings and we have to be careful
Mhm.
with really what we're asking for. Okay.
Yes, that's
So
very
having
true.
said that, I know that you've taken some journeys with some medicines, plant medicine. And
Hmm.
so if you could, from your perspective, explain to me if there is a difference, what would be the difference in these states, like astral traveling, dreaming, and being in these different states of awareness with the plant medicine?
So I'm gonna first say this. Anything, if you are truly where you're supposed to be, you don't need any type of substance. Okay. I'm gonna be completely honest and transparent. I have taken shrooms before, and that's the only thing I've taken. And at the time, even when I've taken it, I took it during the time where I was very hurt. My significant other had passed away. And I'm going to tell you like this, that was one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had outside of the shrooms. Um, he was able to teach me so much more when he passed on. So that's what gave me a different insight on people when they pass away. Even though I already innately knew it, to actually experience it was a whole different thing. So I took shrooms and I was able to, not my significant other, but my grandfather, I was able to help him cross over. And the very first time I took shrooms, it just was a divine connection to source that I just wasn't aware of. So shrooms basically just give you an awareness that you don't know of. And to me, that's all they do for me. For some other people, they take them in different states, like probably, extremely sadness, or if they haven't dealt with, what they should have dealt with. Sometimes people have bad experiences, or if they mix them. If I ever take a shroom, my stomach is going to be completely empty, and I'm going to do it specifically for a spiritual experience. And now I'm so advanced that I don't need a shroom to get to that state at all whatsoever. I can get there now if I wanted to. Um, so when people take shrooms, I feel like, make sure you're going in with pure intentions. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't take other drugs. It's not really something to play with, because just like shrooms, they're opening you up to a different spiritual world, and you can bring things back with you. And I've had that happen before, to where I didn't bring anything back, but somebody wanted me. I was naive. I didn't know any better, and somebody wanted to take shrooms, and they was like, I want to do shrooms with you. And I was like, you sure? Because I had never, done shrooms with anybody else. Like I said, it was my personal journey. So I did shrooms with somebody else, and they were not healed at all. And they end up being in a dark place, and they talking to me through the stages, and I'm literally have to be a light, and had to, like, because I wasn't on shrooms, I had to meditate where they were, because they were in a very dark state, and I had to pull them out. And it was very traumatic. So if you are not in that, conscious state, just know that these things are not games, and they're not for you to play with. Most people, 9 times out of 10, don't go through anything traumatic when they are shrooms, because most of them give you a very light and beautiful experience. But there are those times to where you may not have a good trip. So the best thing is to be, cure yourself naturally. And I don't think you shouldn't take shrooms. I think people should. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna be clear. If you decide that you need a shroom, they actually call you subconsciously, and you be like, you know what? I need this, and you will go on a very spiritual journey. Your soul will literally call it. Because if you look in the pyramids and in ancient Chinese history, those big hats are shrooms. Those things in pyramids, you look on the hieroglyphics, they are shrooms. Shrooms are naturally healing medicine. So when you need it and you're doing it out of the purity of your heart, you will have a beautiful experience. But sometimes people do it to escape, and they mix it with other things. Not a good idea, you know?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said something that was also very, very interesting. And a lot of people are going through this right now, especially with this shift that we're making. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
are transitioning and others are losing loved ones. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a two-part question.
Okay.
What do you, from your perspective, what do you think happens to us when we transition?
Um, many things happen to us when we transition. To be quite honest, a lot of things actually happen. Depending on what state you're in. Some people get stuck here. Some people is like they don't cross over. They're in that in between world, and they stay here for a second, because one thing I can tell you is you never want to be the pain in somebody else's eyes. And that's very important. You never want to be the pain in somebody else's eyes, because you truly have to get forgiveness from that soul, right? And sometimes people go, you have to forgive yourself. Yes, that's part of it, right? That's part of it. However, when you damage a soul, again, we are one. So you're not only damaging that person, you're damaging an aspect of yourself that you really have to get their forgiveness, because they are part of you. So a lot of times when people cross over, they cross over with a lot of unfinished business, and they get stuck in certain states. Hold on, let me move because this dog is like annoying me just a little bit. Oh, right when I'm about to move, that's right. But yes, and I've helped people cross over. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, it was no different than a dream for me. I didn't realize. I realized I lucid dream, so I was very conscious. But I was helping somebody, and they was like, I got less than a week to live, and I didn't expect that. I was like, oh, because I thought I only helped people that of the living. And then awareness kicked in and said, duh, Adjuah, people don't die. You know what I'm saying? They're just moving to the next stage. So sometimes I'd be having to even question myself, like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry to the hires, and tap in really quickly. It is very, what I can say is always be the best person that you can be. Even if you're not religious, even if you don't believe in God or whatever, if you know what I'm saying? It's not just for spiritual people. In general, be the best person that you can be, because then it makes the travel so much more easier, and everything is just a lesson and an experience, right? And don't be sad when your people cross over. Innately, you have no choice. It's just a natural thing to be sad and to miss somebody, because you're more sad of the attachment versus the moving on, right? But when I say don't be sad, a part of that person sometimes lingers around you just because you're sad, because they don't want you to be sad. So they stay around you, and now you're more sad, and now they feel like they can't move on because of the state you're in. And actually, they have to go on a very beautiful journey. It's a blessing to actually leave this stage and go to the next one. It's not as traumatic as we make it seem. Actually, we're like one of the only cultures that don't celebrate when people die. So we really have to tap back into who we are, where we came from, and understand that we are beyond infinite. There is no such thing as death. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
So when, okay, how do I
Hmm.
ask this question? Because there are many cases where I've heard of energies being stuck here, right? Or
Hmm.
damn, because that's okay.
Yes.
So when a person is, let's start with this. When a person is stuck here in this realm,
Yes.
how would we be able to assist in helping them with their process of transitioning?
um it depends on what culture and religion you are. Some people say you can burn a white candle, put a piece of paper under it, write a note, and speak to them for the last time. I don't really burn candles and things like that. I don't really tap into that. Not that I don't believe in it.
No.
I'm just well in myself, where I can do it without any elements, because we have all the elements inside of us. um but I went through some experiences. Actually, one of my exes died, not my significant other, but died, and we hadn't been together in a very long time. And I found out he passed away, and he came straight to me. And sometimes we get confused on what a witch right in our back is, and sometimes we think it's this horrible demonic spirit, and so on and so forth. But sometimes it can just be one of your loved ones trying to communicate with you. So in this case, that's what it was. I'm gonna be honest. I got very upset because I wasn't used to going through that experience. I didn't know it was him. So I was stuck in an altered state. He was trying to connect with me, and I realized it was him because I kind of like astraled out of my body to see exactly what it was. I seen it was him, and he was darker because he was stuck here. So he wasn't as light as I was. So in the midst of that, I'm asking, like, why are you doing this to me? And he was like, because I want to be around you. You so bright, and your light is so bright that I'm too dark and I can't stay around you. So when I woke up and fully gained consciousness, he had drained me, and I was so drained, it wasn't funny. I felt like I had ran a marathon. And at the time I was more angry and wasn't too understanding. And then later on I had to meditate and become understanding. And I couldn't let them just linger around me. But I did ask a question because again, I do confirmations. I love confirmations. And I asked them, I said, I know you're stuck here. I said, but why won't you move on? And he said, because where I want to go, they're not allowing me to go yet. And he used yet, which was very beautiful for me because in my innate belief, without studying anything, just to have a knowing, I said, everybody will make it eventually. You know, they may have to go through their journey. They may have to be stuck. They may have to experience whatever they have to experience, but they will go, you know? So it was for that, it was that for him, you know, he had to, unfortunately, he wasn't the best person. So he had to see his loved ones. He had to go through the torment. He had to understand what he had did to other people. He had to, you know, it was a lot. And then not only that, he had to face his own fear because he knew he had did so much damage that he was afraid to go to the next side. And I actually helped him along with the help of somebody else. And I did it with an angelic presence. And I made him kind of go over it to where, you know, loving somebody is very important. So a lot of times, no matter what a person does, you know, because within the all, like I said, only here is kind of like duality, but it almost gives them like a key, like a cheat code. And I was able to get him help outside of, you know what I'm saying? He still had to go through what he went through, but it wasn't as traumatic. So that's what I can say, you know, just, you know, cherish your loved ones, heal yourself, understand that everybody has issues no matter what. So if somebody died, you know, some people like, I'm so happy they died. Just understand that everybody has issues and unfortunately not everybody knows how to heal them. So, you know, if souls get stuck here and they're angry, that's because they probably left in an unhealed state. It's not that they're out to get you or anything like that. They're just very unhealed and they have to go through what they have to go through. And it's just that simple. You
Nice.
know?
Thank you for that dissertation. No.
Yes.
No. Seriously, thank you for that
Mm-hmm.
explanation. Because you know, that's something that's really going on right now, and people are really having a hard time dealing with their emotional responses
Mm,
behind
yes.
losing a loved one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that sends people into a spiral. So I really feel that that is important, that people know that there are there are beings here who assist with that, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
like that's my shit is love is the cheat code.
Yes, it is.
You know,
It
send
is.
the love, keep sending love, feeling, you know, throwing sadness or anger at it doesn't help raise the frequency of anything. You know, in my opinion, we're to raise the actual frequency of sadness and love through I mean of sadness and anger through love.
Right.
So yeah, just to repeat, yeah, I really feel like love is the cheat code, and that's how we raise the frequency, the vibration of everything to a higher frequency. So
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
appreciate you saying that. Um, wow, that was very thorough.
Yeah.
I usually have question upon question upon question. I think you pretty much nailed that shit. So,
Thank you.
let's just reach in. So tell me something that you feel that you want people to know.
Let's see. Very wow. I want people to know that you are always on your own journey. You don't have to compete with anyone else. And we are all within the oneness. And though I say it and it sounds so cliche almost, um, we are more connected than we think, right? They created cell phones so we can stop doing telepathy. right? They literally, like literally, in every state, only one state so far they passed a law to stop using our brainwaves. They use our brainwaves, right? We're so powerful. There is no such thing as separation, right? That's the illusion. The illusion is the separation. Once we understand that, then we evolve, right? And it's just like the law of giving and receiving. I'm really big into universal laws. And one of them is giving and receiving. And some people think that you have to physically give something, and you do not. You can simply wish somebody good. You can simply pray for somebody. You can simply see somebody and give light to them and transfer energy, right? And you do it with your most purest intention because their angels are yours and yours are theirs. And then you have this army that's literally untouchable, right? So I just really want everybody to know that we are the all and there's no such thing as separation. And please don't ever think that it is. And if you ever look at your life and you think that your life is like the worst life ever, right? Because we sometimes we don't really know light until we truly know darkness. And I'm gonna say that again. We don't really know light until we truly know darkness. So though something seems like it's not as light, it can be just as light as it can be because somebody else 9 times out of 10, actually 10 times out of 10, is going through something extremely wicked or a lot darker than what we perceive to be dark. So if you're having a hard time, compare your problems to the problems of the world. And then you'll realize how light your problems are. Just saying. So, I leave that there, for those who are having a hard time, facing depression, going through whatever they think, is the end all be all. And I'm letting you know it's not. And it definitely doesn't stop here,
Mm.
and that's it.
Well, we are so thankful for your presence and your being, and honored to you for living in your essence.
Thank you. You as well. I'm
That is
honored to
just
be here.
so beautiful, living in your essence. So, close us out and let us know what services you offer, and let the people know how to get a hold of you.
Platform again is Beyond Infinite I Am. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I do credit repair because a lot of people don't find themselves spiritually because they're financially tied down. So I do offer credit repair service, to help you free yourself so that you can become more spiritual and become well rounded. I also help people get to their higher selves. I help you find your purpose, and I help you with pretty much whatever you need. I have almost like an all around package. Obviously, you want me to go surfing, I don't have that, but you know, overall, I do help you in all aspects. I even do fitness. So I can even put together a fitness program to where you can equally balance out your life so you can get that much closer. And that's it. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to reach out. I'm here.
I would like to call you like a balance coach.
Yes, right. They say life coach, but I'm like, okay, that again
Yeah, like
terms. I get
to
stuck in
life
terms.
balance.
Yes, you know.
I love that.
Yes, yes.
Coach, I love that. So we're gonna leave this here, honey, because I could do this for hours. I could do this for hours. So we would definitely like you to come back on the show. But we want to thank the people for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. We
Yes.
love y'all. And we will
Thank
see y'all on the next episode of the You Thrive Everyday Show. Give them a goodbye, Adjuah.
you. I love y'all. Enjoy, be blessed, abundant, and prosperous. Peace.
Peace. Peace to the God.